in this game against Portland, Miami obviously did a lot of good things defensively that I already touched on, just throwing different coverages, switching up the matchups, and obviously just locking them up down the stretch of this game under the 5 minute mark. But the thing about the under the 5 minute mark was also they were finding offense at a high level. And the thing about it is, in Bam Adebayo's second game after returning from 7 weeks off, he basically took over. And it's something that's probably bigger than any storyline on this team. This team's going to go as far as Bam takes them, especially when he's playing like this. And when he can go on a stretch like this where he's able to score the ball at will with these other guys on the floor, that's when you're taking the next step. So I just want to go through some of the possessions and how he was scoring late in this game. And basically, it's just a mental shift. The first one, he got a rebound and he's dribbling down the floor. First thing to mention is just the spacing on this floor. You have Caleb Martin in the bottom corner. You see Gabe shift up to this wing. PJ's going to shift down to the dunker spot, and Max Strus is in the weak side corner. So now, the big thing to mention is PJ's basically in this game been the shifting force offensively after Jimmy went out in that dunker spot. Like, that's been the guy that was facilitating all their offense. What were they going to go through now that they don't have Kyle, they don't have Tyler, and they don't have Jimmy? They just kind of facilitated everything through that dunker spot with two different guys. I'm going to talk about the other guy in a second. But PJ shifting down to this dunker spot, you're going to see how worried they were that they were going to kind of create offense through there, because you're going to see the defenders slide back and not totally switch over to Bam, as you see him just kind of trying to get the box out of PJ, especially with the type of box out guy he is. Bam dribbles right down the floor, takes it aggressively to the rim, doesn't get the foul there, but he definitely did get fouled, drives there. And that's the type of aggressive shift you like to see from him, just mental, just taking over, knowing he's the best player on this floor right now, knowing that he's definitely the best player on his team that they want taking that shot, and he did. And shifting to the next play, you're going to see the score was 89-87. You're just going to see that go up and up, and obviously Miami on the other end was locking Portland up. But you're going to see Bam kind of working the offense in a similar way they've been. The difference is usually when they run stuff, when Bam wasn't here, there's nobody in this corner. It's usually an empty corner, and they put four guys on the weak side. The difference is you're kind of eliminating that one defender, because when you have Omer running it, he's not a dribble threat. He's not a penetration threat. PJ's not a penetration threat when you're running it. Bam is. So you eliminate that one defender right there. And that's what was working. The same thing that they've been doing, just shifting one single thing kind of makes the difference for your offensive player. Bam gets it. He's driving. And one thing to point out as I go back one more time, you can tell his teammates know that this is Bam's time, that this is something that they're discussing, that they want Bam to totally take over offensively. Because if you see Max and Caleb are going to cut through, usually they're just going to kind of cut to the basket, cut over to that corner, cut to the top of the key. But you're going to see both of them indecisive, and it's pretty bad spacing on the weak side, but it's just because they don't want to clear out to this side, because they want Bam to go. They don't want to get in Bam's way. As you see right here, they're kind of reluctantly not knowing where to go. Bam attacks, he gets the foul, and he ends up getting to the line and knocking down 2 free throws. That's the stuff that changes things. That's the stuff that you see Spoelstra and this coaching staff and this offense shifting through different guys. And obviously, Bam is the most versatile guy on this team, that you can put him in so many different spots and excel. But there's no better spot at the end of a game when you need points, or you need a bucket, or you need to get to the line, just kind of run that type of stuff and have Bam go. Another one, you're going to see him run a handoff with Max Strus. And this is the next thing. This is the probably more important thing. He's basically beating overplays, and it's a topic that needs to be discussed with Bam, because we've seen it over time improve. But just this game alone to show some pretty big signs here. If you're talking about a player that has to read situations, read rotations, read different coverages, Nurkic is basically going to fly out at Max Strus, similar way we've seen them do with Duncan, kind of blitz out. Max can make the entry pass right here to Bam. Now it's a 4-on-3. He can kick out to Gabe on that right side. He can hit the dunker spot, or he can kick back over to PJ. As you're going to see here, as I talked about before, they were facilitating a ton of things to the dunker spot. And as I said, it was a lot of PJ. The other guy was a lot of Caleb. They utilized him a lot, and he was kind of that extra force that kind of gave him something. We talk about them utilizing him like Jimmy. This is why they do it. They can put him in this spot and kind of rely on him in these way. And you're going to see Caleb right here kind of pointing in PJ's direction for Bam to kick it out, because PJ's wide open. The difference is Bam's realizing that Nurkic is out on the top of the key. He has him in his peripheral vision, and he has McCollum on his back. This is the thing we talk about so much, is that when you have a small on your back, put your back to the basket and go up. Well, that's exactly what he does right here. As I go back one more time, he knows he has this overplay. He knows that Nurkic can't recover soon enough. He waits a second, goes right up, barely, misses the Nurkic chase down right there, and he gets a bucket. That stuff is the important thing when he notices overplays. Another one, Gabe Vincent pick and roll. It's another one where you see Nurkic at the top, because they're kind of doing it's not a total blitz, but it's just a light blitz. And that's just why Portland is so not a great defensive team. They just they kind of put themselves in the middle of two different coverages. And it just, it looks odd, especially when you have a type of Bam Adebayo who can dissect it decently well. You're going to see Gabe put him inserted in right here, and it's his time to go. This time around, I'm going to go back one more time. It's a little bit different than the last one. He's not pausing, he's putting it back to the basket. Nurkic, after the play before what he just saw, Nurkic is obviously going to come a little faster. PJ sliding down right here. Bam just immediately goes up and he gets the N1 right there. That's just the difference maker when he's able to just go up. Don't think about it. Max Strus does it with threes. Tyler does it in his overall offensive game. Don't overthink that. You just go up with it. You're the best player on the floor right now, and that's what he did. Now the last one. This is a little bit later. This isn't the one of consecutive shots. But this one now it's 102-90. They just need one more bucket to really close it out. It's pretty much over at this point. But now with Nurkic not totally overplaying and he's going to angle himself down, what does Bam Adebayo do? You're going to see him play down because he doesn't want to happen what's been happening. Bam gives him that jab and pulls up for the mid-range, and he knocks it down. This is just the showing of a complete player. What you're starting to see, the differences in what he can do for this offense, especially when they have a full load of players. But that mid-range shot is more important than you may think. I talked about it recently that's something they survived offensively and defensively without Bam. But the thing is, this is not a mid-range team with it when he wasn't playing. You look at the other front court guys that they've had. Omer, not a mid-range pull-up roller guy. Dedmon, obviously not a mid-range pull-up guy. PJ's kind of found that floater, but it's still not a rolling mid-range pull-up. The only other guy that's kind of been able to do it is Markieff, and they obviously have not had him for quite some time. So getting him back, it's just the guy that you can kind of facilitate in that way and put in those spots. I think the biggest jump you're going to see with that is when Kyle comes back, because that's the part of his game that he's best at, just hitting a big right in the middle of the gap of the floor, and he can go up. That's what you're going to see, obviously, when Kyle returns and Bam is playing. But for now, Bam Adebayo just being aggressive, beating overplays, that's the difference in what this team can be late in the season.